Welcome, fellow Kiss fans. Welcome to It's All For You Demon, celebrating the fun of being a Kiss fan. And welcome Strutter to his very first official episode. Hey. Enough of those shenanigans. It's your first episode. And we get...
Alright.
We're off to a good start with you. Pee-wee says, like hell you are. That was pretty good. You can't script that stuff. Tonight, I wanted to talk about Peter Arquette. Peter Arquette has been a staple, a namesake in the Kiss collecting game, and a game I have been involved in since I was in high school. Peter Arquette has been my dealer, not drugs, but Kiss goods, for 33 years. Big news last weekend: if you shop Kiss Museum, Peter Arquette is calling it quits. He is retiring after so many years, and it's been an amazing ride. Congratulations to him, because well deserved. I know myself, I was 17 years old, I think, when I bought my very first Peter Arquette bootleg VHS. I don't even think it was called Kiss Museum back then. It was a newsletter. And my, how I wish I would have saved those newsletters. But I remember in high school, I taped them to my wall because there was one in particular I do remember. He had photocopied, much like the wax pack, photocopied pictures from Kiss playing at the Kite Festival in St. Louis. And St. Louis is 5 hours away from me, other side of the state. My sister lives there. She lives right next to Forest Park, where the Kite Festival was. And so I remember putting that newsletter on my wall because I kind of felt a connection to those photos. And Peter Arquette was our Friday nights. And for me, it all started with this, the Ancient Kiss video number 2, which contained the Tomorrow Show, Land of Hype and Glory, live in Houston, Peter Criss's first interview after quitting on Tom Snyder, Kiss Your Face makeup ad, Kiss doll ad, Inner Sanctum ad, and then Hot in the Shade shots. Clips. There was a porn tape we used to watch in the 80s that had like commercials in between the porns, and they were called hot shots, and so used to saying like hot shots. Hot in the Shade clips. Dan and I talk nostalgic porn quite often, as much as we talk about Kiss. Anywho, back to my Peter Arquette tape, and this really opened up major doors for Dan, Brett, and myself. One of us would get a money order, because none of us had a checking account. We would get a money order, we would send in a money order to Peter Arquette, get a videotape back, and it was like on. Phones would ring, we would gather in Brett's basement or mine, and it was an event. I mean, like, everything stopped, and it was all Kiss. Beautiful weekends. Next up was the Largo show from '79. Probably a big reason that Dan bought me Dynasty on CD, and a big reason why I fell in love with Dynasty later on in life. This was a huge concert for us to watch, and it's still fun to this day. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, I have this on DVD. Came in one of the Kissteries as a special bonus DVD, but it's heavily edited. This is the full concert. And then was this tape, Tokyo, Young Music Show, and Inner Sanctum, the full Inner Sanctum. And if you grew up like we did, watching Exposed, anything Australia was gold. And getting Inner Sanctum in its complete television run was amazing. Then my final Kiss Peter Arquette VHS tape, Kiss Video Special number 27. This is Gene and Paul returning to the loft around Revenge, and a lot of other good clips of the era. It was around this time, I believe, Gene and Paul stormed a Kiss convention, and you pretty much saw the end of bootleggers. They were putting a squash on anyone selling tapes like this, so Peter Arquette kind of changed his format of the newsletter. No more VHS, no more CDs, and it turned into Kiss Museum that we know of today, and is ending. Now, I know in his email that he sent out that it was ending. He said it's being sold to a private investor, so I don't know what's going to come of Kiss Museum, but I was kind of bummed because Kiss Museum and eBay were my main two staples. I felt a connection to Kiss Museum, my history with his business, and just a lot of cool shit that I've gotten from Kiss Museum over the years. So I thought tonight we would take a look at some of the most fun things I have gotten from Kiss Museum from my early college days up until last weekend. We won't go too deep into last weekend because I do want to save those for another video that you'll dig. I do kind of want to share this real quick just to show you how naive Danny and I were back in the early 90s. This was not purchased from Kiss Museum, but it's a picture of Paul wearing my shirt from Kiss Confidential. We didn't know Peter Arquette, like really who he was, what he did. We didn't really understand it. We just knew he had all this amazing Kiss stuff, bootlegs and whatnot. And so when the Paul shirt thing happened, before it was on Confidential, just when it happened, even like a weekend after it happened, Danny and I were like, we have to get in touch with Gene and Paul and thank them for taking our shirts. We wrote Peter Arquette like he would have some inside info how to get our names to Gene and Paul. Totally embarrassing, and I'm sure like when he got the letter he was like, you freaking idiots from St. Joseph, Missouri. I'm just a guy, I'm just a fan selling bootlegs, making your lives happy. Lay off me. But anyway, we were just young, naive kids, and we wrote Peter Arquette asking him to tell Gene and Paul thank you for taking our shirts. I'm still kind of embarrassed by that today, but it is what it is. It's fun.
Perfect.
Now in the early 2000s, I do remember purchasing this. We were actually having a wax night and everyone was at my house. You know, of course, we're just talking, bullshitting, pulling up the internet, pulled up Kiss Museum, and he had a Series 1 box for sale. And I just jumped on it. I was like, holy crap, I gotta have that. This is kind of back when I didn't think you could get things like this. Odd, again, naive Kiss collecting. But this was a huge ad from Kiss Museum and one I'm always thankful for. And this is one of my more recent ads within the last couple years of Peter Arquette. And the beauty of Peter Arquette and Kiss Museum was he bought people's Kiss collections. So all the junk that they had in their Kiss collection, all the junk that our wives are going to sell when we die, Peter Arquette sold. And you could pick up things like this, super cool things for like 10 bucks. And this was a photo, behind the scenes photo of Phantom of the Park, the pool scene. That's fun stuff. And this was a huge one. We talked about this in my Kiss collecting tag, but this set me down the Halloween costume rabbit hole, and I owe it all to Peter Arquette. Such a wonderful price for this in the box. Of course, no plastic wrap, but Ace Frehley mask in a box purchased off the internet at a very low price. God bless Kiss Museum. I am really, really gonna miss you guys. This is a super fun one, a recent one as well. This is a Love Gun Boutwell poster from '77, also included in many Army kit, but this was actually a store, or I guess paraphernalia, merchandise form, rolled up poster, but the actual Boutwell '77 poster. And she smells like a Playboy from here, so I love it. Thank you, Kiss Museum. Another fun one, the Ace Guitar Player magazine from July '79. This was something I never even thought of when I was in high school, college. Never even dawned on me that Ace was on the cover of a Guitar Player magazine, and this was an ad much later in life. And it's always cool to, you know, discover new stuff at a much older age. And I'm kind of getting very sentimental for this website. I mean, it was, I guess a way to look at it, it was, this website was a supplier of joy. It's a good way to put it. Next up, a lot of books. The Robert Duncan book. I had this in high school and lost it over the years. Picked it up again as an adult. And then the Rockstar book from 1979. This was a Scholastic book. Totally feels like a Scholastic book fair. One a kid would have bought in 1979 and kind of been disappointed because there's not a lot of Kiss, but they are on the cover. Now back to the Robert Duncan book, the coolest one I picked up from Kiss Museum, the Japanese version. This is way thicker than the original, and of course written in all Japanese. A lot of cool color photos at the beginning. This was a big one. growing up with the original and doing a book report on it in Mrs. Butterworth's sophomore English class, and then later on adding the Japanese version. That's a lot of fun. The Hot in the Shade tour book, that was not available when Danny and I saw Hot in the Shade. Gosh dang it, we just missed the anniversary of that. May 10th, 1990. Dang! See, getting old sucks. You just forget important dates, and this was an important date. And the Hot in the Shade tour books were not available at our show, and we only went to one show on that tour, very first Kiss show. But finally got to add this gigantic, beautiful Hot in the Shade tour book to the collection. I love this thing. One of my very first Pacifica belt buckles came from Peter Arquette, the black belt buckle, seen in the Rock and Roll Over merch form, and I believe the Love Gun merch form. Probably seen in a lot of merch forms, but I do remember 76, 77. And this is my first venture into the belt buckle rabbit hole, which became ridiculous once everyone thought those rabbits were worth $500. A couple more things I'll have to do pictures of because I have no idea where they're at. The Mexican comic book, that was kind of my first introduction to that whole comic. It's a parody of Kiss, of course, and that kind of makes it fun, and it's Mexican, so it's kind of like a foreign pressing of an album, but in comic book form. The Hot in the Shade in-store promo poster, I love this. The front side is just the cover with the Sphinx, but the back side is so much my bread and butter of growing up as a Kiss fan, because collecting that back catalog on CD, I relied on those discography pages from tour books and magazines, and to have a poster of that just reminds me of going into Video Exchange with Danny in the early 90s and going to the K section of those CDs and being like, hey, this week I'll buy Rock and Roll Over, you buy Love Gun. And we would have 2 brand new Kiss CDs in the neighborhood. It was just that whole era. Being young and discovering this band. There's nothing more beautiful than that. And also on the tit of books, totally forgot about this, Peter Arquette is the reason I know about the I Can Read About Creatures of the Night book. He was selling that book way back in the 2000s, and he had a little blurb written that said it was heavily rumored that this inspired the album cover. And this is before like the Creatures box set. This is before Dennis Wollock was being interviewed about that cover, and that was a moment of discovery for me, and it all came from Kiss Museum online. And that's the beauty of being a Kiss fan. Everyone is learning every day. No one likes know-it-alls, and the fact that we're all just sharing information about this thing we love is what makes this community so freaking cool. And I love it. And I love every day just somebody pings me and says, hey, check out this photo. Hey, have you seen this on YouTube? And I'm like, holy crap, I have not. Thank you. Awesome fandom. Another cool vintage find, the Cube Stewart Hall notebook. No merch form inside, but I did write school sucks filming something for a Kiss video, and there you go. Ruining Kiss merch. I'm excellent at that, but I have a lot of fun. And our last 2 topics tonight are going to be posters, and this was a fun poster to get from Peter Arquette. This is the Alive 2 Paul Stanley Boutwell poster. I have Peter and Paul. I think my days are numbered on completing this set. Gene is a pretty high price tag, and Ace is almost impossible to find anymore. And again, Ace is my hemorrhoid.
Hi, Curly.
When it comes to completing that's a good album title name. Ace is my hemorrhoid. Ace is my hemorrhoid when it comes to completing a collection, because I always have the worst time finding Ace. So I have Peter and Paul, and when the basement is finished, I do want to hang these, but I also don't, because I don't have all 4. I want to be able to hang all 4 on the wall. Need Gene and Paul. It's kind of one of those things, you don't want to just hang 2, you want the full Monty. And then this will be my last final purchase ever from Peter Arquette. We won't talk about this tonight. We'll do another video of this. You can't put all your chickens in one basket. I definitely want to talk about these 2 posters that are in here, 3 posters, and 2 separate videos. This is some good stuff. This is what the year is all about. I'll leave it at that. Peter Arquette, thank you so much. From a kid, teenager, who grew up on your stuff, grew up on your work, grew up on your blood, sweat, and tears into this fandom. I thank you. You have given me and my friends our Friday and Saturday nights. Taco Bell went perfect with your bootleg VHS. And then you have helped me build a wax night basement in every house I've lived in. College, apartment, first home, this home. Once I build the basement again, we will do it again. And a lot of the goods in that basement, a lot of the fun in that basement came directly from you. And I thank you from the bottom of my heart. This has been a hell of a ride. You deserve the break. Thank you so much for bringing so much joy into my life and this fandom's life. Thank you for hanging with us tonight. No one is humping right now. Everyone is very sleepy. It is late on a Friday night when we're filming, and everyone wants to go to bed, but everyone also wants to say hello to the new boy, Strutter Stubbs. Welcome to the family, my friend. I hope you enjoyed your first video. And you gave us a Bob Ross right away, so you're gonna fit in. We love you. Pee-wee loves you. Take care, be safe, be good to your babies. Spay, neuter, microchip. We got his microchip checked over to us. You're officially a Wax Night dog. Take care, be safe. We will talk to you soon.